Exercise Musi, it's a military multinational exercise between the South African Navy, People's Liberation Army, Navy, and the Russian Federation Navy. Allow me now to introduce the panelists to you. The host of this media brief is Lieutenant General Sangweni, Chief of Joint Operations, South African National Defence Force. We also have amongst our midst Chief of Staff, Joint Operations, Rear Admiral Mhlana. We also have the General Officer Commanding Joint Operations Headquarters, Major General Hlongwa. And our visiting guests from the People's Liberation Army Navy, the representatives is Senior Captain Navy Sun Honglin. From the Russian Federation Navy, we have Captain Navy Oleg Kladivkin. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me now to request Chief of Staff Joint Operations Rear Admiral Mhlana to issue a joint statement about the exercise. Over to you, Admiral.
Thank you, Program Director. Thank you to Chief Joint Operations to offer me this opportunity. By the way, I wish as well start by introducing our commanders at sea for this exercise. Sitting in front of us, starting with the Joint Force Task Commander, Captain Gwala. And for the first time, a Joint Operations Division of the South African National Defence Force, we have a female as an exercise director from Joint Ops HQ, Colonel Mahlangu. Exercise Musi 2 2023 is a scheduled tri-national naval exercise between China, Russia, and South Africa, which will be held off the coast of Richards Bay over the period 22 to 27 February. The first exercise Musi was held in Cape Town in 2019. The aim of these exercises then and now is to improve interoperability by means of coordination, cooperation, and capacity building capabilities between the participating naval forces. The aforementioned foreign participants are not the only naval forces that the South African National Defence Force conduct these exercises with. In 2022, South Africa participated in similar exercises with various militaries from countries such as United States of America through Exercise Shade Accord, the forces from France, Exercise Oxide, and Ipsamar exercise between India and Brazil. And I am pleased to inform you that this version of Exercise Musi will now have Brazil also as well on board as an observer nation, hoping that during the next version they will as well bring in some platforms to participate with. Exercise Musi 2 2023 will be conducted in Richards Bay area with 5 days of comprehensive alongside phase and sea phase serials. This morning we started with the opening ceremony that was held at 9:30 that set the motion rolling. The strategic objectives for Exercise Musi 2 are inclusive of enhance and develop relations between China, Russia, and South Africa, and expand friendly cooperation between these tri-armies. Second objective, training of multinational task military exercise to counter maritime security threats jointly, as well as to demonstrate the will of jointly maintaining the regional maritime peace and stability. The operational and tactical objectives based on the initial planning phase, the following was agreed upon by the participating nations. Joint sailing of ships through fleet work, the construction of ships in the wake of the convoy, and rebuilding of ships in the formation of two-wake columns and rebuilding of ships into a trapezoid formation. In terms of performing combat exercises, joint actions to defeat air targets will be exercised with implementation of simulated artillery firing at targets. The South African Air Force in this regard to simulate various attacks towards ships from various directions. On completion of the simulated air attacks are to be set for and engaged by each ship, with firing only carried out in designated sectors. Joint mine actions with the implementation of practical artillery firing at a naval target. Ships practicing maneuvering in formations, detect and hit mock-ups of floating mines. The liberation of civilian vessels captured by pirates. During this phase, specially designated units work out and release of a captured SA Navy vessel. Units of the South African Navy and the Chinese Navy to use helicopters, and division of Chinese Navy and Russian Navy use high-speed watercraft. The assistance to ships in distress at sea, personnel floating on water, the SA Navy vessel in distress will be designated to units that must work out the assistance to SA Navy ship in distress. SA Navy search and lifting of personnel floating from the surface of the water using helicopters, and the Chinese Navy disembarking of emergency vessels using high-speed watercraft and assistance in the vicinity of the crews. So those are activities that we'll embark on in the next 5 days at sea. I now end the joint statement and will therefore afford this opportunity through the program director to Chief Joint Operations for the response to questions that will arise. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the question-answer session. We will conduct that evolution in the following format. We will take 3 questions at a time, and then a response will be provided by the panelists, and then we move on in that session until we end. We will now commence with the question-answer session. I noted the lady here, the gentleman, the lady there, in that sequence, please.
Hi, thank you.
Is the mic?
Hi, thank you. Just to confirm, if we could get a copy of your briefing. And it's Desiree from Daily Maverick, and I was just wondering, is Russia going to be testing its hypersonic missiles during this exercise? And please let us know. Thank you.
gentleman there over there.
I'm the journalist from the Xinhua News Agency. I have a question to the Senior Captain Sun Honglin, the commander of the China Navy Task Group. What is the significance of the Operation Musi 2 in the furthering BRICS defense and security cooperation? Thank you.
Thank you. The lady in front.
Thanks very much. I have 3 questions for all the 3 parties. So I will start with the South African party. The South Africa's leadership is coming.
Sorry, ma'am, which media house are you from?
RT, Russia Today. Yeah. So the South Africa's leadership has come under unprecedented pressure from the Western bloc, from Western countries, because of the continuing cooperation with Russia, and the European Union, for example, has called the drills are not like he called it not a good coincidence with the conflict in Ukraine, and the White House also has expressed concern because of the ongoing drills. So what is your comment upon this? So the question to the Chinese party is, could you please tell us about the units and the ships that are participating in these maneuvers? And the question to the Russian party is that, может быть, я на русском его тогда задам, какие основные элементы, самые главные, будут сейчас разыграны, и что это даст в укреплении обороноспособности российского флота? Спасибо.
We said we're going to take 3 first, and then we'll come over. General say, I would like your response.
Yes, please. Oh, sorry. I will just hear. Sorry, yeah. And the question to the Russian party was that what are the main elements that will be held, and what will it give for the development of the Russian fleet as well as all the participating parties? Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Please allow me to greet all the members that are here, and also reiterate, as the Chief of Staff has indicated, that the media, you are welcome, and we are of the opinion that the session will be fruitful to the media's request to have information and understanding regarding exercise Musi 2. But maybe before I respond to the questions, the Chief of Staff of Joint Operations Division, Admiral, you also missed to clarify or indicate, besides the exercises, maritime exercises that you indicated, you left out the one that we had planned with the German Armed Forces, wherein it couldn't materialize. It was the German Armed Forces had also another exercise in Brazil, and they couldn't make it in time according to our plan. I'm just stating this. The Chief of Staff started only in 2022. In the South African National Defence Force, we conduct joint and multinational exercises regularly as part of our training, as well as part of improving our skills, starting from locally in our region, the SADC region, as well as in the continent under the African Union. But mostly our exercises are in the maritime environment. I believe we all know that a huge chunk of our economic activities as the Republic of South Africa goes through the sea. So it is very much critical and important for us to have our Navy very much competent to protect and secure and ensure safety at sea, have open and free lines of communication at sea. So when opportunities, like when it was planned to have exercises with the defense forces and particularly the naval forces of various countries, it is purely for us to be empowered and for us to get much more skills and for our country to be able to have safety at sea. We will always take this opportunity, and we appreciate that the two maritime forces that are here with us for exercise Mosi 2 have taken time and to be here, and you will all know that they are bigger than our naval force, and we will gain much more than they are going to gain from us. But they are also going to gain from the skills of the local situation and our expertise as well. Now, there was a question of the point is Daily Maverick, if Russia will test its supersonic missile, and I think the Chief of Staff did clearly articulate the activities that will be undertaking during exercise Mosi 2. He didn't mention that part, and we have not discussed or planned. The exercise was planned, I think it commenced 2 years ago, the planning. And I think the issue of the supersonic missile is something that came now. Within the shores or within the maritime zone of the RSA, there is no plan for that to be utilized or to be fired. We must all rest assured. And there was a question also, I think from the RT, inquiring South Africa is facing huge pressure regarding the conduct of this exercise. Well, from the Defense Force, as we have indicated, we planned this. It is scheduled exercise long time ago. At the level of government, the government of the RSA has expressed itself on how South Africa approach to the situation in Ukraine. And the government of South Africa has on many occasions indicated that the South Africa's approach generally and other countries as well prescribe to and believe in dialogue as well as negotiations for peaceful resolutions of conflict. And with that, yes, there will be other countries who feel differently, but in how we have approached this, but all members, all countries are sovereign nations and have a right to handle things the way they see fit. In the military, it is much more different than in the political environment where this pressure is coming from. In the military, cooperation and coordination with all other militaries is one that is very important to us. As we indicated, various countries we have had exercises. Our government did not indicate to us that we then should stop this exercise. And that's why we are carrying on. We believe that it will also contribute to the approach of negotiated settlements and peaceful resolution to conflict. other than if we went the other route of cancelling the exercise. I'll then give the opportunity to my counterparts to respond to the questions that were specific to the People's Republic of China as well as the Russian Federation. Is that one there?
So
I will answer the two questions from two journalists.
很高兴率领123编队赴美丽的里达格湾参加中俄南三方海上联演。
I feel very delightful to arrive at beautiful Richards Bay Harbor along with the Chinese Navy Task Group for attending joint exercise.
我们编队由执行第42批护航任务的导弹驱逐舰淮南舰。
The PLA Navy Task Group consists of destroyer 淮南、
导弹护卫舰日照舰
frigate 日照
和综合补给舰可可西里湖舰组成。
and supply ship 可可西里湖。
我们在刚刚执行完亚丁湾索马里护航任务后，寄赴美丽的里达格湾参加联演。
As soon as we successfully finish the 22nd escort mission in the Gulf of Aden and waters of Somali coast, we come to South Africa for attending the joint exercise.
今年是中南建交25周年。
This year marks the 25th anniversary of diplomatic ties between China and South Africa.
南非继任金砖轮值主席国。
And South Africa will hold the rotating presidency of BRICS.
巴西也派出观察员参加这次联演。
And Brazil will send observer to take part in the joint exercise.
我们相信，在金砖国家合作框架内，通过此次联演，必将有助于各方增加互信。
I believe that within the BRICS trade and investment cooperation framework, the joint naval exercise will undoubtedly help deepen the mutual trust among the three parties.
推动金砖国家防务安全领域的合作。
Further promote cooperation in the field of security.
提升参演各方共同维护海上安全的能力。
Enhance the collective capability to safeguard maritime security.
为维护世界的和平做出我们中国更大的贡献。
And make greater contributions to world peace.
谢谢。
Thank you.
Can we now move to the second round of questions? Oh, sorry, stand by. We'll have a response from the Russian Federation Navy before we proceed to the second round.
Добрый день. Значит, во-первых, я хотел бы выразить слова благодарности руководству Южноафриканской Республики, вооруженных сил и военно-морских сил за тот прием, который оказывают российскому кораблю здесь, в этой стране.
First of all, I would like to greet everybody, and I would like to appreciate the host party, South African Republic, the whole authority, the hiring officer, commanding officers for the receiving conducted to our ships and the crew members.
Что касается вопроса по поводу эпизодов, учения, которые будут отрабатываться, значит, я повторю уже сказанное здесь. Значит, это будет совместное маневрирование кораблей трех стран Российской Федерации Китайской Народной Республики и Южноафриканской Республики. Это будет оказание помощи судну, которое терпит бедствие, будет оказание помощи судну, захваченного пиратами, ну и выполнение артиллерийских стрельб по морским целям. Гиперзвуковое оружие в рамках этого учения применяться не будет. Спасибо.
Thank you. And answering the question, raised question, I would like to tell that all new elements and episodes of the combined naval exercise includes the mutual maneuvering of three sides, assistance of the suffering vessel in the disaster, liberation of captured vessel by the pirates, and artillery fire, which not include, according to our plan schedule, the firing with the hypersonic missiles. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you now move on to the second round of questions? I know the lady here, Maverick, you had your chance. Can we come back to you on the other one?
Yeah.
Gentleman over there, you have a third from this one. Over to you, ma'am.
My name is Nomsa Masebo from BBC News. My question is around transparency. In light of, I suppose I should put it this way, will the press be allowed to film this military exercise in light of the possibility that there could be a decision that the hypersonic missile be fired? And if the press is not allowed to film it, why not? And my second question, it's around the timing of the military exercise being seen as provocative in light of the anniversary of the invasion, the Russia's invasion in the Ukraine. Could you not have postponed this military exercise for another date? Thank you.
There behind the lady there.
My name is Richard Klug, I'm from German television, ARD. I have another Zircon missile question, and it goes to Colonel Gladky. There are reports in the media, also in Russia, that the Zircon missile will be fired once. My source is the Russian news agency TASS. What can you tell us about it?
Last question from...
Hello, my name is Sarah Carter from CBS News. We heard what the Chinese contingent of fleet is here. Could we also hear what the Russian expanse of that is? And also, yes, the timing and the symbols of the V and the Z on the side of the ship could be deemed as quite provocative. Is there a reason, and will those, some say, will be used as some kind of propaganda in the media in Russia for showing South African and Chinese support for the Ukraine war?
Chief Say, may you respond to those three questions?
We don't usually do that. It becomes an in-house activity.
Thank you for the questions. I will start from the questions couldn't in this exercise postponed for another date because it coincided with the anniversary, as you indicated, of the situation in Ukraine. I will go back to the answer I provided earlier, that the Republic of South Africa has an approach and a belief in how we handle conflicts. I also want to reiterate that the Republic of South Africa and other countries as well subscribe to negotiated settlements. They subscribe to peaceful resolution of conflict. They subscribe to dialogue. And that was reflected during the debates on this matter at the United Nations. Currently, the government of South Africa has not taken a decision for us as the military of the Republic of South Africa to postpone the exercise. I'm of the opinion that question, if you need much more detail or reasons why, could be escalated to that level where it resides. We as the military, we are part of government and we are guided by decisions of government. Yes, there will be different views as is reflected currently, and it was reflected during the sessions of the United Nations. And it is my belief that the position of the government of South Africa must also and should also be respected, similar to those who have counter opinions or decisions. Furthermore, maybe it could also be viewed differently. When we have a nation or a country like South Africa who can then, with our military, bring in together armed forces from different environments with different thinking and different approaches. We've indicated several or a number of countries that we've conducted exercises with here in the RSA who might have voted or have a different opinion regarding the approach to the situation in Ukraine. But we did not cancel those exercises because of our own approach or theirs. We carried on and it was successful. Maybe we are that country which can assist to bring together different nations who are opposing each other. And I wish that the people of South Africa can view that in that spirit, and rather than support the approach that we, the Republic have taken. South Africa is where it is now through negotiations and dialogue. So, and we have experience in that, and it has been successful for us. Even then, there were counter arguments whether we must have a democratic South Africa through dialogue and negotiated settlements. Others propagated for war, but we took a different approach, which is why we are here now. And maybe South Africans with their experience should rather embrace and support this and then just guide it correctly, rather than trying to push the country to follow other approaches by other countries. I hope I've covered your question. Will the press be allowed to cover the execution of the exercise? Generally not. It will be something new. Maybe if it had came earlier in time, it could have been considered. At this stage, I don't think it will be easy for us to change the plans. And the fear that when the exercise is being undertaken, certain decisions can change. I hope the South Africans and the media will trust us that we are not going to deviate from our plans. We have not done that previously, and just an element of trust. And if it does happen, I think it cannot be hidden. Then accountability will come through. But as the three nations here, I don't think there will be decisions that will be changed. An element of trust will be appreciated. Is there any question that I like to?
I think the last one was.
The last one was information from. Was it TESS or RT?
TESS.
Yes, from TESS. Well, it is difficult for us to
Chief, sir, if you allow me to give the opportunity to the CTG to answer the question on helicopters, because I think that's a tactical one. Captain Kuala.
Good morning. For the exercise, we'll be utilizing the Oryx helicopter.
The second one, sir, now is the cost of the exercise and again the timing.
Sorry for that. I had to consult with my general and the admiral here regarding the cost of the exercise. I think the question is coming from South African. You will duly be provided with that. It is never hidden. It is planned. It is in the annual performance plan of the National Defence Force. So it is available. For what purpose? The question of what does it cost the taxpayers? Security is expensive, and South Africa need to be secured, and South Africa has to ensure that the Defence Force has the necessary capabilities to ensure safety and security. In the maritime environment, safe passage in our territorial waters, we are of the opinion the amount that will be provided that with is necessary to be spent to capacitate and provide skills to our Navy. And maybe with that question, I wish to make a plea to the South African nation to support the South African National Defence Force and ensure that we have the necessary capabilities to do our work that we are mandated to do and to ensure safety and security. The Commander-in-Chief of the National Defence Force, President Ramaphosa, yesterday at the Parade of Armed Forces Day indicated that there is a need for the South African National Defence Force to be provided with the necessary and required capabilities to ensure safety and security in the country, as well as our international obligations outside the country. A particular question, my sister, if the Chief of Joint Operations couldn't consider and look at it, the situation as it's not a good look to international countries. South Africa is also an international country, if we put it in reverse. Maybe others could also consider how South Africa is doing it differently than their opinions. I did narrate that we're coming from an environment where we took South Africa, a difficult route where others felt otherwise, and we're successful to have this nation. So to us, the government had stated how the country has to handle the issue, the situation in Ukraine. So personal inclinations and thinking and approaches should be guided by what the decision of government. It will be very difficult for the Defense Force to listen to different views and follow different views as well. We carried on with exercise shared accord last year in the area of Richards Bay. That time also there were quite a number of contra views, and the media did ask me particular questions like this one, because it was said there were indications that that exercise was purely conducted for the American armed forces to come and protect our president. We carried on despite those. Imagine if we had swayed to opinions and feelings, and it was very successful. The people of Umhlatuze municipality, as well as the district, were very happy with the armed forces of South Africa and the United States of America exercising humanitarian situation. They went down to the villages and assisted quite a lot of people, and the leadership here have expressed that on many occasions that they were very happy and excited. A similar situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The issue of the Mozambique Channel and anti-piracy operations there, we are now currently busy as a SADC. We have SADC mission in Mozambique with a maritime element to it, as the main objective there is to get rid of the insurgency that is taking place, and as a result, Operation Copper, as we used to know it, is now just part of the activity of the maritime operations that are taking place along the channel. Tanzania and South Africa have been given that responsibility to patrol and monitor the Mozambique Channel. And it is there to look at all crimes, maritime crimes, that take place in that space. And our responsibility, therefore, with Tanzania, is to ensure safe passage of ships along the channel. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints now, we have to end the session. But for conduct of good practices of meetings, I will allow the last session of questions, one question per media house. Thank you. The gentleman here and the lady from BBC. I think that's a point. Sorry?
He's asking many questions. The last one.
Okay, sir, yeah, just bear with me. Okay, over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Saeed. I'm from Phoenix TV. My question to the South African side is, are we likely to see more BRICS countries to join such exercises next time?
Thank you. BBC?
My question is to the Russian colleagues, please. If I may ask, just regarding the war itself, What is the view of the Kremlin when it comes to this war? What will it take for peace to prevail and for the Russian forces to withdraw from Ukraine? Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last lady from BBC. This media brief is strictly for Exercise Morsi. The issue now we are bringing is beyond this forum. I think it's more political in nature. The last question was for the was from the involvement of other BRICS countries in South Africa.
Thank you for that question. The chiefs of the navies from Russia, China, and South Africa, well before 2019, took a decision to have this kind of an exercise. The idea indeed was for all BRICS nations to participate. But by 2019, the ready nations to take up space in the oceans was China, Russia, and South Africa, which we had a very successful exercise, Morsi 1. Now, Morsi 2 includes or will involve Brazil, as I indicated in my opening statement. Brazil will participate as observers, and they were indeed part of the opening ceremony this morning. And therefore, we are looking forward to have Brazil participating with its platforms, but it's difficult times, time and space cost money. And as well as we're still looking forward to see India as well, that will then complete the whole BRICS environment. It is our intention to have all BRICS nations taking part in this exercise. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this media brief. Oh, sorry, sir.
Just give me a chance to the Jews.
Yeah, his voice.
Thank you. Just to write on the protocol which have been observed. The issue of BRICS, definitely it is sorted out, but we must also remember that these exercises have been taking place with all these countries combined. But however, as to see the whole BRICS operating, perhaps that will be something for the future. As the Chief of Staff have said it will be a beautiful and a very appreciated thing from our environment. But I was hoping also that, ladies and gentlemen, you will talk about the involvement of our female soldiers in these operations. Hopefully that you will also appreciate. I know I'm taking you a little bit away from what you really wanted or what you were zooming at. We are actually, if I'm not mistaken, a leading nation with the participation of females in military operations, international. Testers with the UN. Mozambique is commanded by a lady, Operation Vigil. MONUSCO, Mistral in DRC. The battalion commander is a lady. So South Africa definitely is banning. I'm saying this so that you people, mainly the media and the South Africans at large, perhaps you should not worry, although we are taking your concerns serious, but we know that as the military we are genuine in what we are doing. That's the first thing which is very important. Our exercises, you know, military, there is a difference between military and politics. We always like, when we talk of time, meaning diplomacy, information, military and economy, we know when we talk of the soft power and the hard power. Militaries, we always like to move away from politics because all soldiers in all countries, we serve the government of the day, we pledge our allegiance to the flag. So therefore, we always don't concern ourselves with politics. As you can imagine, if soldiers get involved in politics, what will happen? So if we really didn't respond to you as you anticipated, you'll pardon us, we love to deal and we know where we belong. This one is happening at the operational level, perhaps with the strategic outcomes. But as for now, exercise mercy must be understood as exercise mercy, meaning that we are here. One, these are distinct cooperation areas where all these forces mainly is to train, ensure that we sharpen the skills of our soldiers. Also need to learn. If we go outside there, all these ships are not the same. They share different equipments and all that. So those are the skills we need. Yes, we might be a small country, but small does not mean that you fear. We fear nothing, we respect everybody, but we would like to know what is happening in the world, especially when we go for combined operations, as you see these exercises. There might be something now which will be called on, happening somewhere outside Africa. That's where interoperability comes in. So that is very critical, especially from the Chief Joint Ops environment. Because Chief Joint Ops manages all the forces. It is the one who wants to bring in that combined effort so that when we are out, we talk the same language. We conduct our actions the same. So that is very critical. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to say on behalf of Chief Joint Operations, but I'm saying that, please, lastly, that whatever you write, it will be positive about South Africa. It's no serious. You know that's very important. That's why we are always losing it. As a result, we end up reading wrong signals. I'm not saying don't tell the facts. I'm saying tell the facts and tell them positive. Thank you.
Thank you, General Shoma, for that concluding remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance and participation. Have a good afternoon. Let's rise for the departure of Chief Joint Operations.
Let's go first here. I'll stay with the Russian. I'll stay here. See where you can see the Russian ship from there. Yeah.